Yo, 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 what's going on? I'm Brandon, my partner Ruben. Welcome back to another episode of Pressure Points, the podcast that highlights the journey of entrepreneurship and the segment that we like to do with the people that we feel like embody the Choose Your Lifestyle message. This is all brought to you by Applied Pressure. Shout out to my boy Antonio, the community, and Press Printing, man. Check us out. Today, we're on the north side of Everett at Creative Stylez with the one and only Aaron Davis, aka MrUknow, man. What's good? What's going on, man?
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Sure, man. I mean, how's it going, man? I see that you're kind of like you got your stuff going on right here. I see some merch. I see some chairs. So what's everything been like for you so far?
So about 3 months ago, I got blessed with this space, and it's been a big change in my life with different emotions. Like manifesting everything. Like this has always been my vision, um, and I'm sure you guys understand like the highs and lows and a lot of doubt that goes into everything that we do. So, I mean, I'm learning how to be a leader now. I got people under my wing that I'm trying to guide, trying to help build their brand, build their image, um, juggling emotions. So it's a lot of work, man. But I'm truly blessed. I walked in this space 3 months ago, and I knew it was the right space. For the last 4 years, I've been looking for a space, but things got in the way, um, or came up, and I think the first time I got paperwork signed and everything, COVID happened. And the day of COVID shutting everything down, that was supposed to be the last day I was signing my last piece of paper, and I didn't end up following through. And that's when I started the brand and really went hard in it. And I mean, when the world shut down, that was kind of like I came from hustling out the house. I was selling merch, selling paintings, I was selling art, a couple other things, and like so I was hustling out the house. So like that was my natural habitat. And I was like, hey, we're back in this again. So I adapted really quick. And then whatever years go by, I would still look at spaces, and then I came in this space, and I just knew right away. I knew how that was going to be set up. I knew my vision. I knew the color scheme. And so, man, that night I went home and literally just out loud I said, God, take the wheel. I can't do this shit alone anymore.
For sure.
And then the next day I got a phone call saying, hey, you're first on the line, and we want to do business with you.
Yeah.
Have you I mean, we're in Everett, right? You always grown up in Everett? You're from Everett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do you how do you stay motivated? Did you want to stay in Everett? Did you want to like go to a different city or anything like that?
So actually, I really grew up in Mill Creek.
Okay.
But then middle school, I switched to Gateway
Mm.
because we moved from Everett to Silver Lake. So that 35th is what splits.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
you
little, yeah.
So then I went to Cascade High School. So it put me just a little more north than Everett.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal was to open up a business in Mill Creek. But really, I mean, most of my life I've been in Everett.
Yeah.
I always told myself like, oh, I don't want to be out in North Everett. I don't want to work in North Everett. Well, now I live here and my business is here.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad, man, because I feel like North Everett is a diamond in the rough, and it's been kind of underrated, and it's kind of on the rise. It is on the rise.
It's definitely on the rise. I can
know what I
feel
mean?
it.
And there's a lot of big businesses popping off, and I'm blessed that I can bring my talent, my service to North Everett to apply some pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm a huge like believer in manifesting. And I know that they've actually I've seen that article where they speak about this being a 17-year dream for you. So I know you were that kid in high school hustling, trying to do all that, and it all kind of came full circle, even though you're not at that end point yet. So like you being that kid, I saw it was a project you were challenged by to try to like find something different to do. What is it about art and that culture that speaks to you? Is it something that you kind of gravitated towards with your family, or is it something that you kind of just stumbled on like upon yourself?
So, man, that's a good question, bro. So a lot of people don't know this about me. I grew up in like country, Idaho, like Silver Valley, like population of few thousand people. And then I moved out here when I was about 10 years old. So I went from straight country to diversity. And so I had I was living in the trailer park in Mill Creek, the only trailer park in Mill Creek, being the only white boy in the trailer park pretty much, So going to school, there was a lot of diversity of kids, and I hung out with everybody. I hung out with Mexicans, blacks, Asians, Russians, and I just felt like part of everybody, and like I kind of had to find myself, like the music I was into, because even today, like I still listen to a lot of different music, but I feel like hip hop really, I attached to it more, and then I remember I watched You Got Served, and I was like, man, I want to do that, and I started practicing on how to dance it, and finding rhythm, and finding my style, how I dress, and that brought me to, I was always doing landscaping for my dad because he was the manager of the trailer park, so I was really intrigued with it because I would try to define the lines, and that brought out my artist in me, and I was like, man, I'm gonna start drawing. And then through middle school, I started drawing, and then got into high school. It led to me cutting hair in the hallways, breakdancing. So like hip hop just always been, I felt like in me since day one, but I just had to find it and find myself in that, you know what I mean? So I feel like who I am as a person, I feel like I represent like the four elements of hip hop, like from b-boying to MCing to graffiti to poetry or whatever it is, and I feel like that's what I'm attached to, and that's how I represent myself.
I feel that it's all about like creative expression. I like how you said, like, I just had to find my way through that, and like how I want to express myself through that. And I guess the question like that kind of falls into this, like creative styles, creative expression. Like, you got barber chairs here, the rooms in the back, nail text, tattoo artists, all of that. I kind of just like, what's your vision with this, like with this creative studio space,
So I always had like a vision of creating the most creative space. Like I just wanted a building, one room full of artists, and I've always had love in my heart and like support for other people, and a lot of times growing up, I didn't really have a lot of support that I should have had or needed or wanted, but I also very grateful because it pushed me harder. But when I created my business, Creative Stylez, a lot of people were like, hey, why don't you just do Aaron's barbershop or AB Cuts? And I wanted something that represented everybody, because I knew I was going to have this space. I knew I was going to have different people, and I didn't want people just standing behind Aaron's name. I wanted people standing behind something that was more meaningful, that represented everybody as a unit. So when I was like, okay, well, I'm creative. I do a bunch of different unique styles. So I just started writing a bunch of stuff down: creative, art, styles, unique, So I just was word playing. And then I came up with Creative Stylez, and I was like, that's dope, because when you walk into my barbershop, before I even had this, you're gonna have different barbers and stylists that have their own creative style. Even with my brand, me and you could rock the same hat, but you still rock it different because you have your own creative style. So that's really how I came about the branding. My slogan, I've always been saying, let me create, because people would be like kind of doubting me, and I'd just be like, my response would be like, man, just let me create.
And you could.
Exactly. But yeah, my goal with this space, man, I want to be that mentor, that outlet, that leader for other artists to get in here to create, to give them that platform, because I never had that. I had to go through obstacles and shake hands and pay money to be at places and be a part of things. And now that I've made my way around town and figured out situations, how to move about, I feel like I know things that people don't know how to go about. So it's like I want to be that outlet for people to express themselves in whatever creative way they are.
And I think like I speak for myself when I feel like a lot of people fall victim of self-doubt. And being young, being these young kids trying to figure out, what life we want to live. And this is actually a conversation that I was having with my girl, where, we can't avoid situations and experiences and lessons that life teaches us. You know what I mean? and a lot of us we're thrown to that fire, and we want to experiment, and we fall down, we come up, and it's certain lessons in life that we have to live that teach us the most, the most impactful things in our life. And you talk about a lot of self-doubt, and a lot of people that might have looked the other way, but what is it about Aaron Davis that has always kept you so persistent and so willing to just like fall into this huge industry that can just swallow everybody and just spit us out like it's nothing? So what is it about you?
Damn, dude, these are fire questions. These are good questions. They say we want the real Aaron Davis.
Yeah.
Bro, I love that, because you're right, bro. The self-doubt is so important to understand that no matter what we do, everybody's gonna go through it. And I realized, man, like, I had a lot of people meet me and they're like, bro, you're totally different from your Instagram. And I've heard this multiple times, and I'll feed into it. I'm like, okay, why? And they're like, well, you just seem like arrogant and like cocky. I'm like, that's not who I am. So my social media put this presence of me of like just this show off. So I've been trying to give more people of my, the low lights instead of just the highlights, and I think that's more important than the highlights, because people don't see the background. They don't see what goes behind all the hard work and dedication, like these trophies and stuff. These trophies don't make me, I make these trophies, So it's like, end of the day, all that self-doubt, all that trial and error, that's what made me, and like, yeah, I'm never satisfied because I'm never content. I'm always like, what's next? And I feel like growing up, I grew up in IEP classes. I had a hard time reading, doing math. I would get called to the front of the class and couldn't even read a sentence, and people would laugh at me. And like, I'd be embarrassed. And like, I never thought I was good enough. So finding art, or art finding me, I realized I had a talent, and I had to take advantage of that, because I was like, man, from a young age, I want to be successful. Growing up in trailer parks and whatever, I was like, I'm not trying to live like this, or have my kids live like this eventually,
Yeah.
So that self-doubt is what got me to here, because I've always had people doubting me, but I needed to hear that to outshine that, Actually, in one of my songs, I say, what did I say? I said, with a heart full of love and an ear full of doubt. And I think that's one of my dopest lines, because it's like, I've always had love for people. I've always wanted people to win and thrive, but it's like, I've had a lot of doubt in my ear, what I'm saying? So it's like, but that stuff's important, you know what I mean? All the trial and mistakes and wasted time, wasted money, that's what molds you. That's what builds the character. And if it was easy, what would be the purpose? Everybody want to be rich, but nobody wants to stack their bricks and enjoy the journey. Yeah. The journey is what makes it. It's the storyline.
Treasures in the journey.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what makes you. Like, all the adversity and everything like that, like all the hardships, all the struggles, like it's like character development. Like, you're not gonna be who you are unless you went through that. Like you said, if it's easy, then why do it?
Exactly.
So what's kind of like some of like the hardest hardships or adversity things that you've gone through, maybe with like opening up the store, or like events, or even the art of just cutting hair or rapping, like literally anything? Like, what's kind of like the hardest things that obstacles you had to overcome?
I think getting to a point where I just had to forget about everybody's opinion. Like, and knowing that I'm gonna probably mess up a million more times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep making mistakes and getting comfortable, and realizing, hey, I like what I'm creating. I have to get comfortable being comfortable with nobody supporting that. When I started the brand, I had a lot. I'm like, I have hella homies. They'll buy it. A lot of them didn't buy nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like, that was kind of like, I was like, damn, why are my boys buying this? Why am I, So it was kind of like, it hurt the heart a little bit. So I was like, but I realized there's so many people in this world. So why let the little circle that you're around define who you are as a person or what you're doing? So I think just knowing, like, hey, as a person, as an individual, I'm going to go through a lot more quicksand, rocky roads, and but it just molds you as a person, and you just have to get comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
feel like that's like good because a lot of people don't start because of other people's opinions or because they're scared of how people are going to think or perceive them or something. But you can't really like make a name for yourself or change people's perception on you unless you start, unless you like do that. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
so you come from a different generation, right?
Yeah.
We're obviously a lot younger. We were brought up with the internet. We were brought up with so many more resources, and my opinion on certain things is like I feel like a lot of people like we've gone soft, right? Because a lot of people aren't willing to make these mistakes. We deal with hardships. Like me personally, like I'm my own biggest critic, so
Right.
I'm really hesitant and I overthink a lot of certain things, and I try to make the right moves, and he balances me out in that aspect. So you've seen how things have evolved, how things have changed, and for the people that feel like they don't have that outlet, um I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that there's people like Aaron, out here willing to give you that game, to speak to you, pull you aside, and have that moment. Even with us just sitting here with you, getting to hear your story. It's why we do what we want to do, is because we've been those people that we don't have that person to turn to.
Right.
But like Everett can be that ramen in the duff, that ramen in the rough. Sorry, because it's up to us to explore that, and to just emphasize the fact that there is a space for people to be creative, for people to express themselves. So it's interesting to me because you've seen how things have unfolded, and we're so new to the game. But just a moment to appreciate the fact that you've been so willing to dive into that, and you've always done merch. So what is that merch game like to you? And it's interesting to me because that's what we specialize in.
Right.
So how do you go about what you want to do with all your merch?
Man, it's hard, bro. There's a lot of times it's like I got the logos, and then I think of the placements, and I've gotten stuff back, and I'm like, oh man, just the placement doesn't look good, or it's too much, or too much going on. So me, I'm a real simple person. I'm black, white, and gray. Like that's what I rock. You know what I mean? But I can't think about what Aaron Davis wants to rock. I got to think about different, color schemes and stuff. The merchandise is probably one of the hardest thing that I have to deal with, because realistically, I don't make a lot of money from the merchandise. I barely make anything. I'm actually probably under the water with it.
Yeah.
I'm $150,000 deep with just clothing, and talking to different sources of manufacturers, and finding the right product, and just gambling and betting on myself. Like I just put in a $7,000 order, got it, and it's 2 sizes too small.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some stuff that I didn't even get, or there's embroidery that's not even on the back of the sweater. $7,000, bro.
Yeah.
So like the energy that gets put into, besides the money and working for the money, but going into talking to the people, arguing with the people, trying to relate to come to understanding, like, hey, you guys kind of screwed me over.
Yeah.
Where's my shit at? The merchandise is hard, because I'm a one-man army. I gotta figure out the colors. I gotta figure out the logo placement, the colors, just everything, bro. Just so much shit goes into it.
Yeah.
And sorry for the cussing, my bad.
No, you're all
No, you're
good.
good.
We're a rated R platform. Nah.
Really, I just wing it.
Yeah.
I just wing it, bro. And honestly, I feel like what I represent, what I stand behind, will sell itself. And I'm a hustler, and I know eventually it might take years to sell what I have, but
I feel that.
I got money in the bank, so why have the money in the bank instead of just invest in my brand and have people support that, and just shake hands, go to these events, meet people, and stand for something. You know what I mean?
I was gonna bring out. I saw that you were like doing like a pop up kind of thing the other week. What was that about? Like, Do you just like post up somewhere and just try and sell your stuff, or like how does that work? Or...
Yeah, so that was just a barber competition. And I've been doing a lot of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I've probably done over
Yeah.
120 vendor booths.
Yeah.
You know, so honestly, I'm at the point where now that I got the shop, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, getting out there and going in the field.
Dude, I gotta pack all this stuff up, load it in the truck, take it to the place, unload it, set it up, stand there for 6 hours or whatever, shake hands, talk to people, pack it all up, take it back here, unload it, set it all back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's after a whole week of cutting hair, standing on my feet, doing cuts back to back to back. You know, so like, but that's another thing is I don't want to get comfortable just being complacent in my shop because it's bigger than that. Yeah. You know, my vision's way bigger than that. And I know that if I get too stagnant here, then I'm not going to keep achieving my goals and what I got going on.
Yeah. And the story tells itself over time. People don't, you can't buy those experiences. You know what I mean? You can't buy that hustle and that work that gets put in, because down the line, it's like what we do is really like a representation of the work that we put in. And I kind of see your story a little bit. I know you be rocking with Nipsey, and I love Nipsey too, and I love the all money in, you know, and it's huge because, you know, we sacrifice so much stuff. Yeah, you know, rest in peace to my boy. And we sacrifice so much stuff just to be here. You know, when you're cutting hair all week and you got to go and do that. So, you know, I have a huge an appreciation for people willing to take the time to sacrifice, you know, our personal time to you know, chase our dreams, man. And that's why we want to like fit that mold of everybody, and that's why we do that choose your lifestyle. Yeah. A lot of people are trying to do their own thing, and right here at Creative Stylez, you know, we got people cutting hair, we got people trying to do merch, their tattoo, and it's just growing, man. So it's just something for people to stay on the lookout for, people to see how things evolve, and that's what Pressure Points is. Yeah. You know, we're taking that timestamp, you know, talking about what it is, what we're doing, and being able to reflect on it down the line. So, like, to you, what's that end goal for you? I know you want to be that leader and that mentor. So what's that like for you?
Where I'm at in life right now, bro, I'm like really driven to inspire people, you know, and I feel like I've gone through these trials and errors enough that and I'm still going to keep going through them. And I'm still learning as a person, as an artist, that, you know, I'm like, I look at myself 10 years ago and I'm like, damn, man, like if I would have had this stuff back then, I wouldn't have been able to handle it because my mindset, my maturity. Oh, for sure. And now I feel like, you know, I've met so many people in my life that it's like, if I can just plant a seed in somebody to be an artist or to chase after their dream or to be whoever they want to be, then I'm winning, I'm succeeding. Because like, I've always been money motivated. Like I've been hungry, trying to be rich. And you know, I'm not rich or nothing, but I got some money under my belt. And it's like, yeah, it's cool. But like, where are you at in your spirit? You know, I remember the first message I got from somebody. They're like, hey, I just want to say thank you for inspiring me to go to barber school, or, you know, thank you for motivating me to, you know, to represent what I stand for. That's priceless. You know, like end of the day, like you can have all the money you want or in the world, but if it all burns to ashes right there, where's the value? Yeah.
Like all that for what?
Kind of thing. You know, the value, that's what a lot of people don't understand is we are the value. We have what brings money to the table. And people just see all the jewelry, flashes, cars, and the money. And it's just like, I think we're caught up in the cycle that, you know, people are just like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this and get the money, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you start to realize, man, it'll start eating at your soul. Yeah. And, you know, as 33 years old now, I realize I'm like, man, what inspires me is to inspire. You know, my message is imagining, creating, and inspiring. And that's pretty much what I really stand behind, because this was all imagination. I created it. Now I need to give back and inspire other people. You know, and a big thing of me is like, it's crazy to me. Like, you know, as a kid, people be like, yo, what do you want to be when you grow up? You could say whatever you want in the world, and people would be like, you could do that. You just got to work hard.
Yeah.
Now, how old are you?
25.
25 years old. If you're like, if someone came up, what do you want to be? You said, I want to be an NFL player, and you don't even play football, they'd be like, you're crazy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where does that stop? Like, you can't stop. You got to stop dreaming, like, and chasing after what you. Late. Yeah, you know what I mean. So like, I just think it's funny, man, because I'm still like a kid in heart, and I still like live by that. I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, you know, even with the music thing, bro. I make music because I just enjoy it, and it's an outlet for me, and it's a challenge. You know, like I told you, I had a hard time reading, writing, doing all this stuff, so it restructures my brain. Yeah, you know what I mean. Coming up with these patterns, these flows, and it just restructures me, and it's a challenge. That's why I like doing it. I don't rap because I think I'm filthy. I rap because it's a challenge for me. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's like I'm creating these imaginary puzzles or puzzle pieces to put this imaginary puzzle picture together, and getting the joy of like, damn, I really just did that. Yeah, came up with an idea. Yeah. Threw stuff at the wall, hoping that it sticks. Maybe it does, maybe it don't, you know? And that's the beauty of art, you know? And people just, they look past that and they don't understand that, you know, like, oh, you know, the song's whack, or, yo, that song is dope, but you could do better. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, like, think about the process that goes into this. Exactly. You know, when I was 19, 20 years old, I had an entertainment company with 5 of my boys. And my boys were filthy at rapping. Some of the best artists. And I started freestyling with them, and I would say off the wall stuff. And then I'm like, and I'm kicking with like some all-star rappers. I'm like, but when I watched them go in the studio, I was just so intrigued. Yeah. You know, shout out to my boys Spriggs, Burns, Stefan, T. Cox, Milo. You know, I was just intrigued. Like, I was like, whoa, this is what goes into making music. Yeah. That's crazy. Like layers, ad-libs, you know what I mean? So my whole mindset, like hearing music, I'm like, oh yeah, they just go and record one take and boom, it's done. But there's so much that goes into it.
That literally relates to any work of art, even art, like we say, choose your lifestyle. In any lifestyle, there's always all these different layers that go into it, and whatever like form of expression that you choose to, you know, go into and everything. We are wrapping up a little bit, getting to the end. One of my like things that I like to do with all our guests is kind of ask them like advice that they'd give to their younger self, or someone who wants to get into just something. I know like you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of avenues that you're in, dabbling into. So someone who just wants to be someone, or your younger self. So what advice would you give?
I would say find something that you're really passionate about and that you really stand behind and you have a vision for, and lock in. Find people that maybe are similar, that, you know, that are in the same circle doing what you're doing, and try to bounce off each other ideas, or just try to be around those type of people, because when you're around the wrong people, you get more self-doubt, more hate. Lock in, stay focused, chase your vision, stand behind your vision, and fall in love with what you do and be obsessed with it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you're not obsessed with it and falling in love, you're just it's for nothing. Yeah, you know.
And we're all students of the game, man. Like I love to hear people and have that learner's mentality, because I feel like that's what's brought us here today, and it's brought us to be where we want to be. And shout out to Lowe's too, Carlos, for you know bringing this connection. It was going to be inevitable, but it happened, and you know I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I think surrounding ourselves with people that we want to aspire to be like is huge, because we adapt to our environment. Yeah. And you know I love let me create. You know, put that, you know, choose your lifestyle and create, man.
Similar.
Exactly, man. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. So,
you know, and that's the thing, bro. Like, I'm glad you were talking about it when we first met up, about, you know, hey, we need to really put Everett on the map. And it's true. It's like, we are the underdogs.
Literally.
And there's a lot of talent out here, and we need to come together and show love and create together and do whatever we need to do to build at least one of us up.
Yeah.
And then so we can all come up.
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing. When I saw you guys, I was like, yo, stay connected. You guys might think different views or eventually, but stay connected, because I used to have a squad of people. We all just kind of fell off. One day I went driving around to drop off some clothes to homeless, and I saw my boy Ray. And he told me this. He's like, man, back when the day when I met you, I knew you were going to do big things, bro. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I don't really kick it with none of my homies no more. He's like, when you start at this mountain, it's easy to climb. Then you start to get a little more altitude, a little more steeper, people start falling off. And then you go a little higher, and people start weighing on you to carry them. Yeah. But what you don't know is at the top of the mountain, there's a whole another side of the mountain. People are doing the same thing. And I was like, damn, I needed to hear that at that certain time. So shout out to my guy, Ray, man. Like I tell a lot of people that mindset, that strategy, and however you want to take it, you know? So like, I think that's really important, is like, there's going to be a lot of people that come and go out of your life. And I mean, some are just going to stay for a little bit. I mean, what's the phrase? Some, they leave for a reason, or like the season or whatever, whatever it is. But just know, just know that, some people come in and out of your life, and it could be good, it could be bad, but just stay focused and lock in.
So that.
Yeah. I think I need to hear that right now in my life.
Yeah, come on, baby.
Crazy. All right, man. Well,
Pressure Points, episode 7. Aaron Davis, Creative Stylez. We out, man.
You guys, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's always an honor.